everyone, this is Faryal from Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you're doing amazing. So in today's video, we are going to talk about the market update. We're going to talk about what's really happening in the market, the factors that are affecting the market, and we're going to touch on the million-dollar question that everyone is wondering right now. Are the prices going down? Is the market crashing? So let's get right into it, guys. We know right now that, wherever we see in the news, the headlines, it's all about prices going down, the market is cooling off. We also see that the market is going to crash. Just to show you one of the articles here, we see that it says Canadian real estate prices expected to drop 24%, can crash 40%. And then we also see another article that says higher interest rates start to cool Canada's hot housing market. And there's another one that says RBC calls spring peak for Canadian housing sees prices falling in 2023. So this is all great. Media is going to do what it always does. It creates the hype, it creates the fear, and it is what it is. So we'll let them do what they are doing, but I am going to share with you what's really happening since the January of 2022 of this year. We saw that the average prices in the GTA back in January 2022 for all home types were around 1.741318. Then we saw that the prices went about 3% up in the GTA to 1.797203. And then we saw that in March there was a little bit of a dip in prices by 6%, and the average prices fell down to 1.697396. Now keep in mind that March was the month where the interest rates going up was introduced. They started talking about it in the beginning of March. Then we saw that the interest rates went up. That created a lot of fear among the buyers. There was buyer fatigue as well. And then we also saw that the buyers were literally hanging by their fingernails to get into the market, were pushed out of the market because of the high interest rates. So all of this led to a pretty frenzy in the market. A lot of sellers saw that there was no offers on the offer date. There was a lot of price changes of the properties that were happening as well. I did talk about this in my last video. Is the market shifting? If you haven't seen it, do watch it. It's very interesting. It touches on the subject. And then we saw that a lot of properties were terminated altogether. Sellers took them off the market. Just alone in Mississauga, we saw that there was about 240 properties that were terminated in the month of March. So now let's take a look at the immigration numbers. We all know that the immigration makes a big chunk of our population growth in Canada on a yearly basis. Just alone in 2021, we saw that there was about 401,000 new immigrants who came to Canada. According to this article over here for a Government of Canada, it says Canada welcomes the most immigrants in a single year in its history. Because of that, we saw that Canada's population jumped by nearly 500,000 in 2021 as international migration returned to historically elevated pre-pandemic numbers. We also see in another article over here that Canada increases target to 432,000 immigrants in 2022 under immigration levels plan of 2022-2024. So we see that the immigration numbers are keeping strong. There's more and more people coming in, and out of all these immigrants who come to Canada, 49% of these new immigrants move to Ontario. Ontario seems to be the number one preference for a lot of new immigrants who move to Canada. So now let's talk about all of these new immigrants who move into where they're working. So according to this article, if you see over here, it says that the employment gains over the period were largest in professional, scientific, and technical services and wholesale and retail trade, reflecting the role that both higher skilled and lower skilled employment plays in the integration of newcomers into the labor market. So we see that most of them do end up getting into the higher skill employment. They come here, they start working, they move here with their families, and they do want to buy a home like any other normal Canadian who has been living in Canada wants to buy for their family. Now, a lot of these new immigrants who come here, they might rent in the beginning. I actually am working with one of the clients, which is a perfect example. He moved here from India. It's been 8 months. He's been renting, and now he finally decided to buy his own place. He has the funds saved from back home. He is working in a IT managing position, so he is earning a good salary over here as well. And now this person who moved here with his family wants to buy a home. And 49% of these new immigrants, keep in mind, who come to Canada do move to Ontario. Ontario is always number one on the list of preferences for a lot of new immigrants who move to Canada. Now, looking at the numbers of the immigration and population growth in Canada year over year, the question that comes into mind is that, is our housing supply keeping up with this growing demand of homes? That's a big question, and we have been hearing this all over the news since 2020, when the borrowing of money became really cheap and the inventory was able to keep up with the demand. Just alone in 2022, to give you an idea what is happening on the resale side of new listings, we saw in January 2022, new listings went down by 15.5%. In February, we saw that new listings went down again by 6.6%. And then we saw in March that there was another dip of 11.9%. So you can see the trend that the new listings are keep going down. But that's the resale side of things. Now, if we look at the new build and construction, let's see if that is able to keep up with the demand. So in front of me right now, I have the Ontario Home Association data over here, and it says that in Ontario, in Toronto alone, we saw in February only 5,115 new homes that were built, out of which majority were condos, high-rise, as you can see over here, and only 418 single detached homes were built. Now, keep in mind that a lot of people who want to buy a home, condo, high-rise might not be the option. If you have a big family, you would like to want to have that backyard, a little bit more space, and of course, the new changing trends of a lot of people now working from home. And that's why we saw a lot of prices going up in places like London, Waterloo, Kitchener, because more and more people were looking for bigger house that they can afford. That drove up the prices in the outskirts of the city as well. Now, another shocking fact that we see when it comes to the new construction and new builds is that we, of course, see a lot of major delays in the approval process that happens just to start the construction process. But another thing that we are overlooking is the amount of shortage that we have in the construction workers, the skilled labor. We are facing a tremendous amount of shortage in that sector. In front of me right now, as you can see in this article, of occupation with largest 2-year increases in job vacancies just alone in fourth quarter of 2021, construction trades and helpers and laborers were number 2 on the list with 158.4% increase in job vacancies. That's a very, very high number to have job vacancies and not be able to fill those jobs. We are seeing that a lot of employers are now fighting over the workers, and they're paying a lot higher to attract those workers, to retain them, to keep them as well. But we still have a big shortage. And we also see that a lot of new immigrants who come in, they are not the ones who are skilled labor workers who can go in and get into the construction work and help us out. So now you know the amount of facts and different factors that are affecting our market. I would like to give you a snapshot, a highlight of this video. So we talked about the higher interest rates going up, and we are seeing that it's happening right now. We're talking about it, that it will most likely to go up even more in the coming months. Then we also saw that the prices month over month in this in January 2022, we saw that starting March, the prices went down by 6.6%. And that is, of course, a big part of it is because the interest rates went up. We're seeing that the immigration, the population growth is happening every year, more and more new immigrants coming in, and the demand is always going to be there for new homes. We're also seeing that the new construction, new built homes is not as speedy, and we are seeing the shortage of construction workers as well. And there's not a lot of homes that are being built every month to keep up with the demand. So now that you know all this information, I want to know, what do you think is going to happen to prices in the near future when the dust settles and people get adjusted to this new interest rates that are happening in the market, and the buyers come back with more wanting to buy more homes? What do you think is going to happen? I want to know. Let me know in the comments. I'm really interested to know your point of view. And until next time, have yourself a wonderful day, and remember to be kind to yourself and others.